This is High School Algebra 1, Chapter 1, Lesson 3. We're going to start off with our 5-minute check, our objective for the day, our new vocabulary, and then our concepts here. All right, let's get started. Evaluate the expression 20 minus 6 times 3. Well, if you remember GEMDAS, you're going to multiply first, and then you'll subtract here. So 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 would be what? Okay, let's look at GEMDAS. Grouping symbols. Yes, we have some. So we're going to focus on this 15 plus 3 first. You have 2 times 18 minus 11 times 2. Okay, according to GEMDAS, we're going to multiply and divide left to right first. So we have 2 times 18, 2 times 8. 2 times 1. So we have 36 minus 11 times 2. 36 minus 22. 6 minus 2 would be 4. 3 minus 2 would be 1. Try this one on your own. Plug in your numbers: 4, 5 for B, C for 10 for C. Do everything on top first, then do everything on bottom, and then divide them out. Evaluate B cubed plus AC minus B if A equals 4, B equals 5, and C equals 10. Try this for yourself. Plug in your numbers, pause the video, and then try it for yourself. The area of a parallelogram is the product of its base and height. So we're going to multiply this times this. What is the area of the parallelogram if n equals 3? So plug in 3 here, and multiply. So you would get 3 plus 2 times 5n plus 1. Pause the video and try it for yourself. Simplify. 40 divided by 5 plus 5 times 2 times 13 minus 7. Start with your parentheses, then multiply and divide left to right, and your last step will be to add. Pause the video and try it for yourself. Okay, what are you trying to learn today? We've used order of operations, which we call GEMDAS. And now we're going to talk about the properties of equality and identity and commutative and associative. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to take your notes. So someone should be pausing the video as we go so you guys can keep up. We have a few new vocabulary words. Let's go over them. Oops. So we have equivalent expressions, are expressions that have the same value, so they're equal, or that have the same mathematical meaning for all replacement variables. So let's look. 3 plus 2 equals 10 minus 5. So 3 plus 2 is 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. They're equivalent. So you have 2x plus 3x equals 5x. So 2x plus 3x would be 5x, and 5x is equal to 5x. Reciprocal is one of your vocabulary words. It means a multiplicative inverse of a number. If you remember back when you were learning how to divide fractions, you would say the flip of the fraction, which would be the reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. So let's say, like, we have the number 4, the flip or the reciprocal of 4 is 4 over 1. So the multiplicative inverse is the number that, when multiplied by a given number, results in the product of 1. So let me show you with that 4. So 4 over 1 times 1 over 4 equals 4 over 4, which is equal to 1. So 4 over 1, 1/4 is its reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. These next terms are in your book. I would write them down in your notes. Okay, we have reflexive property, which means any quantity is equal to itself. So we say A is equal to A. 5 is equal to 5. 4 plus 7 is equal to 4 plus 7. Miss Tomlin is equal to Miss Tomlin. Okay, that's called reflexive. Symmetric property. If one quantity equals a second quantity, then the second quantity equals the first. So if A is equal to B, then B is equal to A. For example, if 8 is equal to 2 plus 6, then 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. Transitive property. If one quantity equals the second quantity, and the second quantity equals a third quantity, then the first quantity equals the third. Here is using it with simples. So we have A, B, and C. If I told you A is equal to B, and B is equal to C, then because A is equal to B, A also has to be equal to C. That's transitive. So if 6 plus 9 is equal to 3 plus 12, and 3 plus 12 is equal to 15, then 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. We have the substitution property. A quantity may be substituted for its equal in any expression. If A is equal to B, then A can be replaced by B in any expression. So we use this in algebra a lot. You'll say n is equal to 11, so you're going to put an 11 there. 4 times 11, 4n equals 4 times 11. Remember, you can pause the video to keep up with your notes. Additive property. Additive identity. For any number A, the sum of A and 0 is A. So you always know A plus 0 is equal to 0 plus A is equal to A. So you can take any number and add 0, and you get what you started with. 2 plus 0 is 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. Additive inverse. A number and its opposite are additive inverses. They equal 0. So A plus negative A is 0. So if you think of it a number line, if you add opposites, so let's say we had a negative 2 here, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So let's say negative 2 plus 2 is going to be 0. So if we add 2, we get 0. 2 plus a negative 2, we would get 0. They're additive inverses. Their examples: 3 plus negative 3 is 0. 4 minus 4, which is the same as saying 4 plus a negative 4, is equal to 0. Multiplicative identity. For any number A, the product of A and 1 is itself. So A times 1 is A, and 1 times A is A. So when you multiply anything by 1, you get what you started with. So 14 times 1 would be 14, or 1 times 14 would be 14. Multiplicative property of 0. For any number A, the product of A and 0 is 0. So this rule is, if you multiply anything by 0, you get 0. A times 0 equals 0. 0 times A equals 0. So if we took 9 times 0, we'd get 0. 0 times 9, we'd get 0. Multiplicative inverse, we already covered that. So if we had the fraction AB, its multiplicative inverse would be the flip or the reciprocal. So 4/5, the multiplicative inverse would be 5/4. 5/4, the multiplicative inverse would be 4/5. So on your lesson today, you're going to use GEMDAS to solve, but I'm not going to make you name the property in each step, okay? You are just going to solve the equations, all right? Let's go through this one step by step. So we have parentheses, so we have 12 minus 8 and 15 divided by 5 minus 2, okay? So let's start here. 12 minus 8 is 4, okay? Then we need to take 15 divided by 5, which is 3, and 3 minus 2, which is 1. So we have 1/4 times 4 plus 3 times 1. 1/4 times 4, well, you put 4 over 1. Their multiplicative inverse, they equal 1. 3 times 1 is 3. So we have 1 plus 3. One plus 3 is 4. Your answer is 4. Pause the video and try this one for yourself. We start off with 10 minus 7 and 18 divided by 9. One-third and 3/1 are multiplicative inverse, so that's going to be 1 plus 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have 4 times 1, which is 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. Communitive property. You probably started learning this back in 3rd grade, okay? The order in which you add or multiply numbers does not change the answer, the sum or the product. So you know 4 plus 8 is 8 plus 4. 7 times 11 is 11 times 7. This equals 12. This equals 12. This equals 77. This equals 77. Remember, this is only addition and multiplication. This does not work for or division.
We'll use algebra.
We'll use algebra and order of operations to evaluate a given problem and state our properties along the way. Evaluate 14 plus 3 times the quantity, 2 minus 4 times 1/2, plus 7 times 1/7. Name the property used in each step. According to order of operations, we want to take care of the parentheses first, and inside the parentheses, there is subtraction and multiplication. Let's review order of operations, or PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division left to right, addition and subtraction left to right. So within the parentheses, multiplication comes before subtraction. So we'll multiply 4 times 1/2, which is 2. And we'll rewrite that in the parentheses as I rewrite the problem. And that is simple substitution as we name the properties along the way. We have put 2 in for 4 times 1/2. Still within the parentheses, we need to do the math, and that is subtraction. 2 minus 2 is 0. And once again, the property is substitution, as we've put 0 in for 2 minus 2. So I'll write substitution again. Now, order of operations, we have addition, multiplication, and multiplication. So multiplication comes before addition, And let's do both of those at the same time. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 7 times 1/7 is 1. Multiplication at the same step. Now we have two different properties at work here. The first one, 3 times 0, is the multiplication property of 0. And at the other end, with multiplication, 7 times 1/7 is simply the multiplicative inverse, which says when you multiply a number times its inverse, you will always get 1. So we've stated those two properties for both pieces of multiplication on this line. Finally, it's addition, left to right, 14 plus 0 plus 1. 14 plus 0 is 14. And that is the additive identity. The additive identity says when you add 0 to any number, you get the number you started with. 14 plus 0 is 14. And finally, 14 plus 1 is 15, which is just as we started. That's substitution, as we've renamed and plugged in 15 for 14 plus 1. So we have simplified using addition, using multiplication, using parentheses rules to get 15, and we've named the property.
Remember, we're not naming the properties.
This is Mr. Hardesty.
Associative property. When you group 3 or more numbers when adding or multiplying, it does not change their sum or product. So the way you group 3 or more numbers. Okay? So if we had A plus B plus C, or A plus B plus C, see how we're grouping them? First time it was grouped the A and B. Second time the B and C were grouped. Because it's addition, that would not change your answer. For example, 3 plus 5 is 8, and then you have 8 plus 7. You have 5 plus 7 is 12. Then you still have your plus 3. 8 plus 7 is 15, which is equal to 3 plus 12, which is 15. Same with multiplication. They group the AB and then multiplied by the C. They group the BC and multiplied by the A. So 2 times 6 is 12. Okay. 6 times 9 is 54. 2 times 54 is 108. 12 times 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry my 1. I get 108. That's the associative property. Okay, so we're going to solve these problems. Magina made a list of trail lengths to find the total miles she rode. Find the total miles she rode her horse. So we're going to add all these numbers. Okay. Remember, when adding decimals, you line up the decimals. So you add them up. Here they grouped those two together and added and got 1550. They grouped those two together, they got 12. You add those two together, you would get $27 or 27 miles, 27.5 miles on the trail. Okay, look at this one. How far did she travel on the train? Okay, so 0.6 plus 1.2 plus 1.8 plus 1.9. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 9 is 25. 2 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. Bring down your decimal. I get 5.5 miles. And that is the correct answer. Multiplication properties. So we're going to take 2 times 8 times 5 times 7. I might take the 2 times 5 and get 10. 10 times 8 would be 180. And then 180 times 7. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 5 would be 12. Let's see how they did it. See, I made a mistake. Let's find my mistake. I said 2 times 5 was 10, and 10 times 8 was 180. Is that correct? 10 times 8 is 80. I added an extra 100. So now if you took 80 times 7, you get 560. So this is a good lesson. I was able to look and go, wait a minute. I said 10 times 8 was 180, and that was incorrect. So the correct answer on this one would be 560. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one. Okay, your assignment today is in your book. So if you look in your book on page 19 through 20, you're going to do 9 through 28 all. And then on page 22, you're going to do 61 through 67. And I want to show you this because you guys have not been showing me your work correctly, and it makes it hard for me to grade. So you put your name, the page number, the date, and the assignment on your page. So this is chapter 1, lesson 3. Then problem number 9 would go here. 10 here, 11 here, 12. I only want 3 across, okay? You need to number them and leave space in between them. Drawing the lines would make it easier, and circling your answers would make it easier to grade. If you don't do it in this format, I will have to give it back to you and have you redo it. This assignment is due in 2 days, so it'll be due on Wednesday.